What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of We Lift Big, the podcast where listeners and viewers alike may be inspired to live a life of health and self-love. I am your host, Bria Gabor, and this is going to be a little bit different than what I've done before. What I've done is I have taken clips from my training, and so occasionally while I'm training, I have a thought, and I like to sit down in front of my camera and just express the thought, get it off my mind. And I'm so happy that I do this. Sometimes it feels a little weird, but I'm genuinely just so thankful that I do this, because now I can share those thoughts with you all. And so today, I believe I've got 5 clips of during my prep, during workouts or eating, in which I had a thought that came into my head and something that I wanted to just put out into the universe. And so again, I believe it's 5 different clips, and some of them are workout related, some of them are a little silly about food, or like realizing that like one of my hamstrings is stronger than the other. And overall though, I do think that they have some motivational elements to them. And in creating this podcast, it's just cool to look back and to listen to what was on my brain. And sometimes it picks me up to be like, yeah, like you got some good thoughts, Bria. Good job. And so anyways, I wanted to share some thoughts that I had with you all today. And here it is. I hope you enjoy. So just a thought for the moment. I am here by myself, understandably, and I don't know where I heard this quote, but I think about it a lot. I don't know if it's just something that my head came up with or what it was, but most of our growth of our entire lives happens when we are alone. And of course, training in a gym by myself, which is a lot of how my training has been over the past month since I've started. I don't know, it's just something that is kind of always in my brain. We tend to grow the most when we are alone. Now, that's not to say that there is not an incredible amount of necessary growth when we're with people, because it's our environments and our surroundings that give us the fuel we need. But when it comes to the actual processing of that fuel, that has to happen alone. No one can tell us how to truly do that. Guidance can be given, but we're the ones who have to execute that. So anyways, totally random thought off the top of my head, but thought I would get it on recording. So I'm fucking starving. I'm gonna eat now. Love you guys. Hello. So I have a thought. I'm in the middle of my workout right now, and I'm at the point in the workout where I find my inner dialogue saying things like, just keep going, you're almost there, like this is almost over with, and then you'll be able to move on to the next thing. And what occurred to me was, these are the moments. So the moments when you're just dying to get to the next thing because it's hard, or it's boring, or it's slow or tedious, or whatever it may be. These are the moments that when we learn to really embrace them and soak them in, like this is part of the journey. Like as the saying goes, like it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And so to ask myself, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm right in the middle. Is there anything I can take out of this moment? Is there anything I can get out of this moment? Is there anything that I can observe, just soak in, embrace, accept in this moment? Because you don't have to love the journey all the time. In fact, most of the time the journey is pretty monotonous. But I think that there's little gems, there's little things that we can learn to really keep an eye out for in the moment. And so if I'm like mid-set and I have 10 reps to go, it's like, okay, what can I notice about these last 10 reps? Like, where am I really feeling this? Can I squeeze harder? Can I get a bit deeper? Because this is the stuff that makes up the journey. Like, yes, when I get on stage, like, I'm gonna have those moments and those minutes of like climax, like, this is what I'm working for. But the stuff that lasts so much longer is all the prep that leads up into it. And it's the stuff like this where I'm in the middle of the workout and I'm just dying to get to the next exercise, that I think it's really important to kind of recognize that mind space and then ask yourself, what am I missing right now? Am I missing anything? Is there anything that I can truly observe, feel in this moment that I'm not right now? Because this is the stuff that matters and the stuff that I'm going to miss out on if I just keep trying to get to the next exercise. Just a thought. So with that, I'm gonna stop procrastinating and get back to it. You know what's so funny is, and this is why doing unilateral work is important. And so bilateral, you're working both limbs at the same time. And unilateral, you're working one limb at a time. The importance of unilateral work is to let yourself know, it's a good check-in for if one side is stronger than the other, which is normal, for the body to be stronger on one side than the other. And that's definitely the case with my hamstrings. Doing unilateral hamstring work, my left side is so much weaker than my right. Not by a lot, but by enough to be like, oh shit, hot damn, good thing I'm doing this. So anyways, just a thought. That's normal. And that's why once in a while it's good to just hit one side at a time, because you never know. One side might be a bit more stronger than the other than you realized. Anyways, happy Monday. Hello world. So I have a thought, and this simply came about because I was debating whether to bring ketchup to put on my food today to work. And I was thinking about the 2 to 4 extra carbs that would be, because I have to think about that right now. And I see a lot of bodybuilders who use sugar-free ketchup and things like that, just because then you don't have to worry about the carbs. And it's the same reason I use stevia versus honey or other sweeteners, is that it's not metabolized by the body in the same way. It doesn't have those carbs that I need to worry about, but it has all the sweetness that I want in life. And I was thinking about why, because I'm not here to say that using artificial sweeteners all the time is good. For whatever reason, I think that if you are going to choose between the artificial stuff, like if you're going to choose one or the other, I would say go natural, just like I would say go whole foods, all that good stuff. But I was thinking about why that is a good way to go. Why is it better to choose the natural choices versus the artificial choices? And what I wanted to focus on was not so much the science behind one or the other in terms of like the food itself, but the actual behavior choices that those choices promote. And so when we choose, the whole reason that I would want to go for a artificially flavored ketchup is because I can have more. I can flavor my food more during a time when a lot of the food that I'm eating is pretty darn bland. And I've gotten to a point where I really don't care. Just all food seems to be delicious, which is actually a great way to be. But I think about in terms of, all of my clients and just people in the world in general. A reason that we often choose to use artificial sweeteners and things is because in a way, it's giving us permission to have that thing that we want, but that we label as bad. And it's not that anything I would say is necessarily bad, although there is research to state that some things are good for us and some things are really not good for us. But it's more so the choices that we make based on the thing that we are consuming. And so for example, another great example is diet soda. When we read the label and it's like, oh, this is 0 calorie, like 0 sugar, in a way it gives us permission, or we tend to give ourselves permission to consume a lot more of that thing. But if you think about it, what habit is that really developing? It's giving yourself permission to have this thing that you would not normally have. Because if you had to have the regular version, then the carbs and the calories and all that stuff would add up. And it's like, okay, I don't want that to happen, so I'm not going to have this thing. And I'm not here to again say, because I consume, I'll have a Diet Coke here and there, and I will probably buy myself some sugar-free ketchup in the near future. But I think it's just important to be mindful of these things and to be mindful of, because this thing is the way that it is, because it's sugar-free or whatever, I'm giving myself permission to use that thing. And that's not a bad thing in itself, but again, everything in moderation. I'm not about to consume 10 cans of Diet Coke or a whole cup of sugar-free ketchup. That would not serve me. That probably would not taste good either. But just recognize what you give yourself permission to do based on the choices that you make. And in regards to food, when you are choosing these calorie-free options, why are you choosing them? Really ask yourself, because there's everything okay with wanting to enjoy something, but if it is giving you a reason or an excuse to overconsume or to consume more than you would normally have, I just think it's important to be mindful of that. Because again, everything in moderation. Giving ourselves excuses to do in excess something that we would not normally do if it was a different circumstance, I would argue it's much better to use these things, but to use them in a way as if they did have the calories or they weren't diet. And that overall just promotes much better habits over time. And so that is my thought for today. Brought to you by Sugar-Free Ketchup. Not a sponsor. I'm gonna eat now. Hey y'all, it is just about 9, a little past 9 o'clock. Usually not a time that I would be working out, but I had 150 calories of cardio I made the intention to burn today, and so I don't know if you can see it, but I am on my bike out here on the patio, and I did it. I did what I need to do, because that's what you do when you set your mind out to do things, is you just decide. That's the thing. When I get asked the question, how do you do it? How do you stay on track? You just decide to do it. You you turn on the on switch and you don't mess with it, basically. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I'll continue to do for the future. That is all my thoughts for today for now. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear your feedback. If you were inspired, if it made you laugh, cry, whatever. And if you enjoy episodes like this, I will keep having random thoughts and recording them and putting them out into the universe. So let me know if you enjoyed today's podcast. I love you all so much, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.